Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration of JP Line Productions and Oddball Magazine.
Good evening, all you Mayflowers and June bugs. This is indeed the Oddball Show, setting sail on the waves of the interwebs and landing live in your inner ear. My name is Prof, and I'll be your tour guide on this cyber safari. I represent the JP Lime side of this enterprise, and my co-host for this and every Oddball hour is the creator and editor-in-chief of Oddball Magazine, the dopest poetry site this side of Siberia. He is the Peter Piper of plebeian poets, so please say hello to Mr. Jason Wright.
Peter Piper, pick the pepper. Peter Piper, pick the pepper.
What's up, buddy?
I'm all right. I had an interesting today, but I'm doing okay.
An interesting altercation between a vehicle and another vehicle.
Yeah, I had a shitty day, but
they said hello.
I'm so excited to be on this podcast. How you been? How was your week? Good.
Great. I had a great week. We are. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a second when we introduce our guest. But we are preparing, me and our guest, for a great show this weekend. So we'll dig into the details on that in a second. But I'm in a good spot, feeling good, feeling energetic.
No, I had actually a great week. I've been doing a lot of good work with my job, working with people with mental health conditions, helping them out. I love it. And I had a lobster bake this weekend, and I went to the Museum of Science in Boston. Nice. So I had a dope weekend, but then I capped off my Monday with getting in a slight altercation 2 seconds away from my work. So that's been my week today. But besides that, I've been doing good. I don't know if you're out there in the cyber world, if you can relate to that, but it's raining in Boston.
Yeah, it's been a rainy couple days, man. Feeling like London up in this bitch.
Feeling like Baltimore.
Or Seattle. Or other rainy places here on this planet Earth.
Seattle, or the rainforest even.
Or the rainforest.
Anyway, let's get on the show.
Our guest tonight is a multi-talented artist whose greatest tool is perhaps the bass guitar. Comprising 1/3 of the hard rock band A Night on the Sun, as well as 1/2 of the hip-hop duo Tyler Durden. Tonight, he'll provide 4/5 of the funk and noise as we talk about the differences between his rap and rock projects, his forays into visual arts and short story writing, and his show this Friday night at TCAN in Natick, which is a great spot for local musicians. They do a great program called Rock Off Main. Like I said, we'll talk about that in just a minute, but it's a really good spot that has been a long time supporting local artists. So that's definitely a show to see. When it comes to bass lines and beats, he gets straight A's, but tonight you may know him as the one and only D+.
Hey,
Welcome,
D+. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here, buddy. We really appreciate your time.
Sure, absolutely.
Love the name D+.
I had a ton of other shit to do, but I canceled it.
That's right. You said, screw that. I got important places to be. I got a podcast that starts at 8:30 sharp.
I'm so needed elsewhere, but I'm going to sacrifice. So
yeah, we appreciate it, man.
I normally dunk on people on Mondays, but today I said, no, sir.
There'll be no dunking.
Okay. No dunking. No dunking.
Well, let's get straight into it because there's a bunch of different things, like we mentioned in the intro, that we want to talk about tonight. But the big one, just to kick off, is this Friday night, the duo that is Tyler Durden, which is made up of our good friend here, D+, and myself, Prof, takes the stage. We take the stage Friday night at a place called TCAN. I don't know how you're feeling, Dave, but I feel energetic. I feel like I want to get in people's faces. I want to feel raucous Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely, it'll be a funky party and with aggression. So
funky party with aggression.
It's we'll definitely bring energy. But we just need some familiar faces to come down, or unfamiliar too. We'll take them either way.
Yeah, you can be downright unpleasant. You don't even have to be a nice person. You can get up and be raucous with a grimace on your face if you want. But come on down and join us, President.
Hostile. They're asking for a hostile crowd to come.
Maybe not hostile. Maybe just a little bit of an aggressive undertone.
Raucous mob.
If strangers come, they contain lollipops.
What?
Yeah. So that's a promise.
Lollipops?
Yeah, you can pay in lollipops if you're a stranger.
Oh.
That's right. If you're an especially strange.
He's like, oh.
That's incredibly creepy. That's incredibly.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're not playing.
Well, and speaking of incredibly creepy, let's talk a little bit about
Tyler Durden.
let's talk about Tyler Durden and what it is. And I don't know, it's an interesting story how Dave and I ended up started working together. He kind of sent some stuff my way. But Dave, what would you say we sound like? Not either who or like adjectives, you know, a taste of what our sound sounds like to somebody who's never heard us before.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think the fact that it's not easy to define it makes it interesting. But having said that, you know, it's got elements. It's funky. It's aggression, like I said. It's got a pop, a boom to it, bounce, whatever sort of energetic word you want to throw in there. But it's not too. So far, it's not too edgy, in the sense of offensive or something like that.
Right.
But,
yeah.
You know, it's you know, unbridled enthusiasm.
Nice.
I think our listeners need to listen to this, but we will later. But I got to say, I listened to it, and I would say I would compare it to the likes of Mr. Bungle, who is Mr. Bungle is a Faith No More side project by Mike Patton. So it's a pretty cool version of the cool mix of like Prof's really cool, interesting hip hop lyrics, and then like this just really dope bass lines. Then it gets really heavy, and then it smooths out and gets like mellow. I think what I've heard so far I like. So you gotta come out to the show this Friday at TCAN, Center for the Arts in Natick. It's gonna be a good show. I would definitely compare it to Mr. Bungle. I would say Mr. Bungle and a little bit of Beastie Boys, which is a pretty good compliment because I love the Beastie Boys. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Beastie Boys because a friend of ours said Beastie Boys to us. On top of that, there's two name drops. Well, there's Beastie Boys and Bradley Nowell name dropped in the song that we're going to play later.
That's true.
Yeah. You do Bradley Nowell? That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Sublime. Sublime's one of my favorite bands. So
yeah, you can tell there's definitely a Sublime influence in the bass line. Definitely.
Well, and I think too the number of groups that hip hop and rock fusion that kind of happened around the time of Sublime, the end of the '90s. There was that kind of started to take off a little bit, but there's not nearly enough of it. And I think it's a really wide open potential kind of space for hip hop, especially. So I can see why, like, I can see some of Sublime, why you make Sublime connections, but I think there's also a whole lot of that, like, I don't know. I really wish there were more hip hop rock bands. I really wish that more MCs would embrace the wide openness of rock and roll. I think
I agree. We talked about Rage Against the Machine too.
Yeah.
So like you said, there was kind of a petering out of, or there was like certain vibes that were acceptable and they got like pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Either like political or it was like Limp Bizkit, you know? So yeah, I mean, I wish it was more open-minded.
And there's a sort of rap rock vibe going on with 21 Pilots, but it's not really a genre anymore. But the that's what's so interesting about Tyler Durden is the fact that it is. I wouldn't say it's rap rock. I would say it's really interesting. It's just like you play with the tempos and play with the audience's sense of like their security in the song. Like you don't know where it's going. It kind of leaves you frantic, kind of like that.
That ties right into our name, you know. I mean, that's where we got Tyler Durden after trying a bunch of possibilities over months.
We did. We tried a lot.
Yeah. So like this one is grown on me a lot. They like two like a split genre personality. You know.
Yeah. To our listeners out there, can you just tell us who don't know who Tyler Durden is? Where did you get the name of your band from?
That's true. It is an aging reference, I must say.
I know.
There was a movie in the late '90s with Brad Pitt and what's his name, Edward Norton, Edward Norton?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
Sound right. That was called Fight Club, and he's the alternate personality of the main character in the movie.
Or is he the real main character? Is he really Tyler Durden all along?
I really simplified it. I know. Much more interesting than that, So.
So who came up with the name Tyler Durden?
I think that was Chris.
Yeah, I think I did. Because we tried a lot of different names. The process of naming a band or naming any kind of entity to me, I think is really, really interesting. And sometimes it comes like a bolt of lightning, like it just, something that sounds really good and somehow encapsulates what you're doing. But, so it's not necessarily easy. So we tried all kinds of different types of names. We played with them for a couple of rehearsals, and I would come to several rehearsals with lists and lists of words that I liked, or like a couple different character names. Like I like the name Joe Friday. I think that's kind of a cool name, but I don't know if that's really us as a name. And that's from Dragnet. That's another like weird reference, but I think it's a cool name. But it sounds to me like maybe it's a blues band or something.
Yeah, like maybe like you talk about detective songs.
Yeah, just has a real slow walking beat to every song.
Wear zoot suits. You're like,
hey, we're Joe Friday.
Joe Friday. Yeah.
Also, the other thing about naming a band or something that's gonna have staying power is like we were talking about, Chris. Yeah, never mind. Just lost my thought.
That train has left the station. That train too has sailed.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I wanted to ask you. Maybe this will help you remember. I think it was cool, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Like you and I have known each other a while. Dave's a good friend of my wife's from high school, so we've known each other a while. But you kind of hit me up out of the blue about doing some music together. You were well aware of my very long and standing and successful hip hop career, my many accolades and plaques. But you kind of hit me up out of the blue to say like, hey, I got these bass ideas.
On the mic.
My prowess. That's a good word. But you kind of hit me up to say that you had these bass ideas. Had you ever tried to do anything else, or had inclinations to do anything else hip hop related before?
In college, I did a very, very brief like flirt with the idea. I met a guy at a party, and he rapped a little bit, and we probably did it a couple sessions, but then it just didn't take. But that's what, yeah. I did kick you out of the blue. My music history is pretty weird. I was in a band forever ago called Herself.
Herself?
Out of Natick, Massachusetts. And we were kind of like ahead of our time. We were really young. We were 14, 15, and there was enough talent among the four of us to create like a gender-bending pop rock band that almost got signed by Sony Records.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
We won the 1999 WBCN, another name drop, WBCN Battle of the Bands, like all of Boston. And because we won that, we also got one of the judges for the contest was Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah.
Mighty Bosstones. He liked us so much. We were like 15. He liked us so much. He called our drummer. Like he found our drummer's number somehow, and he called our drummer. And we went on to like a mini tour with them. We played in like Vermont with them. We played at their hometown Throwdown, which is at like the Middle East downstairs when we were like 16 years old.
That's awesome.
So it was like this crazy, unexpected, like, what the fuck is, what the fuck is this? And it like all came too easy, and we didn't like know how to like work hard enough. So it kind of fizzled out before it could like really get going. And, we were toying with the idea of like college or doing this band, it was like a huge decision. Anyway, so like I took like 12 years off from music. So like my drummer John Milch says I retired. It wasn't really like that. It was like I forgot about it, like in my back pocket. And then like I came back from China a couple years ago, living in China, and I had like this reawakening with music. And now I'm like head into music with first A Night on the Sun, this band, and Tyler Durden now. So yeah, I remember I was like, I have more time to give than the band can practice in a week. So I started making beats, and I called Chris. I knew he had rapped for a long time, and I felt guilty that I never actually went to go see his show. Still feel guilty about that.
Good
Hopefully
motherfucker.
there's a reunion in the future of you guys. Anyway, so yeah, and then so that's the story, I guess.
I think it's pretty awesome, and it's also awesome to me to consider what it must be like for you, like, so like you just said, you had some history obviously playing bass in a couple different bands. Night in the Sun, you guys have been going for a little while by the point that you hit me up to work on hip hop. But even over the course of the time that we've been working, you've grown from just like a bass player who also makes drum beats into really a full-fledged hip hop producer. That you are the producer half of this, and now we've kind of with little Stevie's going to be playing with us on Friday. So last few weeks of rehearsal, he's been joining us to add some awesome layers to some of these songs, and it would not be the same without him. But really, you're the driving musical force behind this. Is that weird, and B, how is it different than being just not just a player, but a somewhat equal participant, equal contributor in a trio?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, I've long considered myself like a bass player, I guess, and I never really explored. I mean, I've drawn throughout my life some art stuff, but when we first started, I was just kind of like making whatever free beats on GarageBand, and just so that we could actually like have tracks.
Yeah.
So we didn't play to like a click, that wouldn't be very cool.
Be like the whisper track.
Yeah. So, but now, I'm using like a legit program. Granted, I'm using like 5% of it, kind of like we use our brains,
Yeah.
And I use FL Studio. I don't know if I'm allowed to brand name things. Anyway.
Hell yeah, man. Maybe they'll come on and do a commercial. I mean, give us some money.
That's how you're getting paid.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, it's I have my responsibilities are so much more varied in the Tyler Durden now and it's kind of bled over like between the rock and the hip hop, like with pedal changes between flanger and distortion and whatever reverb and just nuanced effects. It's kind of bled over back into the rock, so it keeps informing itself. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it then. I didn't really think I could do this at all. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a humble guy, I guess, but I mean, I've kind of gotten to the point where the beats sound cool enough and I've gotten enough positive reinforcement that it's like, okay, yeah, I can like do multiple things to create sound and have an influence on rhythm in whatever genre. So
I mean, I think it's cool too to watch you evolve, because I'm always fascinated by hip hop producers. To me, a hip hop producer is like a conductor of an orchestra. You have every instrument at your disposal, so it's a matter of choosing what goes where. You're actually not even a conductor, a composer really of an orchestra. You have at your disposal all the different sections of an orchestra, and you have to decide what comes in when and why, which is both awesome in its wide berth, and it's also a pretty big responsibility in order to get that balance right. So I think it's been fun for me to watch you. The first few beats were great. Obviously, I gravitated to them right away, but to watch you feel more and more comfortable, as well as like, all right, let me try some. Now that I got a hang of this, let me try some even weirder shit. Let me try some like, I really want to do some quirky, upbeat kind of stuff. Let me try this beat. I also really like it too when you come to rehearsal. You're like, you got to hear this. This is really weird, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I like your reference to the orchestra, because I see that I really only make rhythmic elements to sound, but there's like 40 or 50 of them in a track. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the layering is something that requires a lot of attention, and then also song structure. You reminded me of that. Playing with song structure as well as sounds, looking for the next cool, quirky sound. Try to deplete the packs you have before you want to buy more sounds. Like buying sound. Like how fucked up is that? Just I'm too lazy to mic it myself. I guess I gotta go get some congos and mic them. Yeah.
Oh man, because you're supporting somebody who's already doing that. It's a whole industry.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, I mean, I like your thought there about the orchestra. That's a good one.
And I think we won't get too deep into this, but the idea of the hip hop duo is kind of a long-standing tradition in hip hop. There have not been as many of them recently, but like during the golden age, during '88, you had Eric B. and Rakim. I think is somebody who's one of my favorites, and also a little bit of an influence on us. Like if we sound a little bit like if you took Eric B. and Rakim and put them in a bag with confetti or something and shook them up. They're really smooth, but I think there's some elements to them that, like, if they were more jagged, would sound a little bit like us.
Uh-huh.
But you had Eric B. and Rakim, you had Pete Rock and CL Smooth, you had EPMD, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. So there was a lot of like old school hip hop duos, and some of them are MC duos, and a lot of them are an MC and a producer, which I think is I don't know, it's a really cool relationship to provide two different halves rather than just trying to, the further along we go as a group, it's more collaborative, but the bringing something to the table and saying, all right, what do you want to do with this? What does this sound like to you? I don't know. I think that hip hop duo is an underrated aspect of hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see us bringing it back.
Yeah. Oh, so it went away for a bit. I don't know that much about the history of hip hop duos.
Well, I just feel like there's fewer of them now. So you have like Outkast, Black Star is most, and Talib Kweli. Gangstar is a big one. So they're just they're not even that they went away, but there are only a few of them at any given point that are like super successful, I think.
I think we're kind of like visually, we're kind of quirky because it's the duo, but you throw the bass guitar in there, like me with a computer and bass guitar. It's like a three-legged dog, Like you want to look at it, like you don't want to look away. It's like it's kind of badass though. It's like quirky and badass because the dog's still running around and stuff, chasing shit.
Quirky and badass, I think, is pretty good, and I think it's going to surprise a few people when we start out, especially on Friday, because we start with a couple of really like almost trippy tracks. They're really like there's certainly a darkness to what we do, not in terms of like themes of death or anything, but just a dark energy to it. And I think we start off the Friday set with a couple that are really kind of dive into that. So I think it's going to catch some people unaware, but intrigued for sure.
Yeah. So just to plug that show one last time, this is happening at the, if you're near Natick, Massachusetts, this Friday, the 7th, 8th, 9th? 8th, 9th. Right?
It's 69, man.
So yeah, this Friday the 9th. We're not sure exactly when we're playing. We'll know that day, but it'll be somewhere between 8 and 9 most likely. Anyway, yeah, come check it out. It'll definitely be worth your time. You won't see anything else like it in the area.
And actually, to that end, that's a pretty good segue into let's talk briefly before we end this first half. We'll hear a little bit. Hear one of our tracks to close out this segment, but let's talk a little bit about where it is. That place, that venue is TCAN. It's the Center for the Arts in Natick, and they run a great program called Rock Off Main, which Dave has played in with both Annette and the Sun and herself, as far as I know. But Dave, you can tell us a little bit about what Rock Off Main is, because I think I don't know, there's not enough of it supporting local artists, but especially supporting local young artists, which is really what Rock Off Main does, is younger bands. So will you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rock Off Main is an event, I guess, for lack of a better word. A musical event like every month. Now it's monthly, where a woman named Diane Young, who's been working at it for 20 years. This is the 20th anniversary of Rock Off Main coming up in a couple months. So this woman, just volunteering her time, has built this into something what young, when I say young high school age or college age or whoever really, but as low as, teens can have a safe place to go play music in front of each other in a legitimate stage, a legitimate lighting, a decent sound system. So it's a great, all ages type thing.
Which is, there's not enough of it. I went and saw Not in the Sun play at Rock Off Main, and really it was an all ages crowd, and they were raucous. They were up and supporting supporting their bands, mostly because they were friends with them, but also there was a real energy in the room. So I can't say enough about how important that is to support local artists, but also to support local young artists.
I'll give one other shout out related to, so Diane Young again does Rock Off Main at the Center for the Arts in Natick. Check it out, TCAN, they have a website. Other guy named Robert McCarthy, he has a Facebook group that's all ages rock group. And they do the same thing as Rock Off Main, but it's kind of a traveling show between Providence and Boston and Worcester and different areas around where kids who a lot of them are super talented, a lot of rock bands have a place to play.
That's awesome. So when we do this tonight, as you all know, the podcast runs simultaneously on our many social media networks, both on Oddball Magazine and jplineproductions.com. It also runs on our Facebook and Twitter sites, as well as our YouTube, our SoundCloud, and eventually iTunes. But when we put them up, there's going to be a pertinent link section. It's already up there. It has links to A Night in the Sun and Tyler Durden on social media and whatnot. But we'll also be putting stuff like that group with Robert McCarthy. We'll be putting those links up there because I think I know it's really important for me, for our listeners, to be able to go find these awesome resources and not just have them be little pieces of our discussion. So do check out the pertinent link section, and please go check out places like TCAN and Rock Off Main, as well as like the other ones we mentioned, like Robert McCarthy. So check out the pertinent link section on the podcast tonight, please.
What's
that?
We need to follow up, Chris.
Hey, I do what I can, man. I try to cover all bases.
Well,
he covers all the bases, like
several
several baseball players,
like three infielders at once, right?
Yes, like
or four.
Like a very well-oiled machine, like an outfit, like a great softball team.
Man, that analogy fell apart.
A great softball team, and everyone gets together. I play softball every Friday these days, and I'm telling you, I don't got the arm for the outfield and the infield.
You're quite the athlete, man. I gotta tell you.
I really am. I'm working in my old age. I plan on, like, there was this one time I saw this commercial when I was a youngin', and it was a Bowflex commercial, and the guy said, I look better at 42 than I did at 22, so I got a couple of years, so that's my goal, that I look better at 42 than 22. I got to cover men's fitness by the time I'm 42.
I like it.
Because it didn't happen when I was 22.
Hey, something to build towards, man.
Well, I'm just going to start taking some heavy-duty steroids. And
whatever works. Nothing bad can come from that, bro. As far as I
know. Hulk smash.
No, there's no side effects.
I can't even take creatine. It messes with my mood. But, I probably could take creatine, but, all it does is put water in your mouth.
I probably could, but yeah.
But, obviously I don't.
I said dying to know.
But I said I take protein, and I drink a lot of, what are those words? Shakes, like the, I make juice. Cake, man. I quit smoking a year and a week ago.
Oh, good for you. So, that's awesome.
I feel like we should have had like the newscast bum when you said that.
Yeah. I would have liked to have talked about my day.
Hey, what we'll do? You can be the guest on the next show, bud.
Yeah. Let's make this all about you guys and your love and what you do and Tyler Durden.
You are tuned in right now to the Oddball Show It's gone a little bit down the oddball track, but that's how we do things here. I think it's actually probably a good spot here for us to take our mid-section break and talk about what's going on. But before we do, I think we should hear a little bit of the music that is Tyler Durden, if you guys are okay with that.
No, it would be really cool if you did if you laid club, samples. So think about that in your next song, like
Get some samples in that bitch.
You know that guy who had tits? You could say he was a juicer, and then you play your song. You know what I mean? From Fight Club.
He was
His name is Robert Palmer. I mean, Paulson.
Right? I was a juicer.
Yeah, Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why he has the man tits.
He was a juicer. Yeah. Anyway, here's your song, guys. This is Tyler Durden. The song is called "Filterless," and I think our listeners are really gonna enjoy this much more than me talking. So we're gonna play this song right now for you guys. Here we go.
Hello everybody, hi, my name is Prof, and I brought a little story here to share with y'all of a bass and some lyrics, a miracle, a call that he placed for me through a hole in the wall like two cans on a string. Our plans seem to fall into place when we jam like a mama laid a song, like two cans on a branch, our peaks in the malt, our hands in the goopy, our fingers on the pulse, coming straight to your face. Yeah, we bringing you that funk, all based upon a bass like it's banging out your trunk. Placed with traces of cinematic drum, ace of spades and that 151, that sticky bloody blood. Somebody bring it up. Yeah, here to make it sticking on the state of all of us. I'm here to open up and I'm here to cut a rough cut. Tear up all the things like Sammy Davis with a fresh cut. Catch up on the head, they sound like you can muscle rough it. Something like a blessing from somewhere so far above. Got the rock and roll in your hip hop cousin. Serving you that extra like a band feels dozen. What? Now I'm standing on the staircase with my head up on the railing, trying to catch the sights and a little understanding. Static on the airway, shoot across the canyon like a student, make a student drive a stick shift, clamoring up.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's fucking dope. I love it.
Thanks, Ben. So yeah, that's Filterless. We'll be playing that on Friday. It's actually one of our first and our original first couple tracks, but it's also grown and evolved along with us. So that one's a lot of fun. Tells a little bit about us as a duo, and what is it we're trying to administer to the crowd.
Absolutely Mr. Bungle-esque, which is cool because not a lot of Mr. Bungalow is going on these days, and I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's kind of a good reference. I like it.
So that is Tyler Durden. We'll be playing Friday night. We'll have all the info up on that show, up on the website, both on Oddball Magazine and jplionproductions.com. And speaking of our two respective sites, I think here's a good spot for us to take a break and talk about what's going on at JP Lion Productions and Oddball Magazine. Mr. Jason, you want to go first? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just liked it. Yeah.
I get excited by newscast music. It means the breaking news shit is coming.
Go ahead,
Actually,
Jason.
I've done 1,000 of them.
You've done 1,000 of what?
My arms should be tired because I've done 1,000 of them.
I don't know if you heard me counting when you came in, but so many I did.
I'm in a glass box of emotion. All right. So I got a lot going on in Oddball Magazine as usual. I will start with some really cool stuff. So let's just start. This is what's going on at Oddball Magazine. Damn it! No, these technical difficulties are really. Well, never mind. Anyway, This is what's going on in Oddball Magazine. Okay, that's also what's going on with the Oddball Show. Anyway, we have a lot going on in Oddball Magazine. So for those of you who don't know, I am the editor of Oddball Magazine. You are listening to the Oddball Show, and what we are, Oddball Magazine is a poetry magazine that we do 24/7 poetry across the globe, from comic strips. We do comic strips on Monday, and we end with wise words on Friday. So we have all sorts of things going on in our magazine. So we have our normal columnists. We have about 7 different columnists, so I won't get through all of them. But I want to always give a shout out to the lovely Liza Zayas and her Underground Garden. She's been coming up with some friggin' lyrics lately for her poetry that are bars. So it's really great. But I always like to shout out to people on the podcast who don't normally publish to our magazine. And those are the quick poem by Richard L. Ratliff, Last Wednesday, with photography by Edward S. Galt. Edward S. Galt has been doing some art for us lately. And we also have a poem by Zach Tribino with some old photography from Allison Golden. I wish she would come back to us. And then, of course, we have the Wise Words with Bruce Wise, and we have this poem by Hannah Packman, which is pretty cool, with some art from, I think, who is this? This art is awesome. It's Cesar Valterra. I think he's one of my favorite artists that we've picked up on the Oddball Show. So if you go to www.oddballmagazine.com off of www.google.com, you will find some really great work. So all you got to do is, when you get to Oddball Magazine, subscribe to our website, and you will get all our updates. Every day we'll send you something. We have definitely the most prolific poetry magazine this side of the Atlantic. I think we have a great magazine. So shout out to all our columnists who have been part with us since day one. And thank you for all our artists. So we have a lot going on in Oddball Magazine. Too much to talk about in 2 minutes. So come back and check us out, www.oddballmagazine.com. Back to you, Prof.
Yeah. So that is Oddball Magazine. Really, you should go check them out. And then over at jplineproductions.com, we are your world with a crunchy hip hop center. We love writing about a lot of different things. Obviously, the center of our world is hip hop, and we like to keep up with the monthly rap flashback, talking a little bit about hip hop history, and doing some individual ones, such as America's Most Wanted was one of our recent features on the rap flashback. But this week, or this week and the week past, we had Welcome to the Swamp Volume 2, which was called Give Us This Day, Our Daily Briefing, is the adventures of a dysfunctional and despotic government based on the Florida coast. So that's I've been writing that past few months. The second volume of that is up, so definitely go give that a read. We're talking a little bit. We have a piece up there about Tyler Durden this Friday at TCAN. You can hear Filterless in its entirety and read a little bit more about the venue and about what it is that we're hoping to do on Friday. And then 2 other things coming this week. Our LSP Throwback Thursday is our good friend DJ LSP, longtime friend of the Lime, and the man responsible for our theme music at the beginning. That's a beat called Resurrection off of our album Blue Star Boulevard, which is our theme music here at the podcast. DJ LSP is a longtime friend of ours and one of the better producers in Boston, so definitely go check him out if you are an MC. But every Thursday, he does what's called the LSP TBT, or Throwback Thursday, where he goes and finds one of his older beats, revitalizes it, brings it up for our listening and freestyle enjoyment. One of the last ones he did was a track called Flow Zone with Scholar. He brought that up, and we listened to that throughout the week. So definitely check out the LSP Throwback Thursday, and go check out LSP on Facebook. He is somebody you should really be in touch with as a musician. And then I'm going to be doing a little piece on music that's coming out this spring and summer, new hip-hop music. It should be a pretty good hot summer for new releases. So I got a little piece coming at the end of the week on that. We are jplineproductions.com and JPL Magazine. Please come check us out and find us on Twitter and Facebook and pretty much every other social media network that exists at JP Lime. Yeah, that's us.
That's
So
what's
we're
going on at JP Lime and Oddball Magazine. Check us out. We're the
Yeah.
dopest.
As tends to happen when we're having a good time here in the Oddball Show, the time zips right by us. But we're going to get into the second segment of our show a little bit, and we want to talk. We mentioned earlier Dave's other band, A Night on the Sun, who was a really hard rock and awesome band. So I want to talk a little bit about them and a little bit about the other things that other artistic enterprises that Dave has going on that make him, that make him D+, that make him who he is. But let's get into A Night on the Sun a little bit, because they have a really awesome sound and a really big sound and a really rock and roll pants kind of sound. So Dave, will you talk a little bit about, I know that you mentioned Herself, and I know that your drummer Milch is an associate of yours from there, but you talk about how you guys came together, and especially Little Stevie, because to me, he is just, I have a lot of respect for Little Stevie on the guitar. He's pretty hypnotic. Will you talk about how you guys came together and what kind of makes up the Night on the Sun sound?
Yeah, sure. So this band, like I mentioned in the first segment of the show, after taking 12 years off from playing music, I got back into it last year, and with this band called A Night on the Sun. We're from Framingham, Massachusetts. I've only ever played music with one drummer my entire life so far, and it's this guy John Milch from Natick, and he's an awesome rock drummer, solid. He's got some little flair, but not too much. So he was playing in bands, and I was like traveling and doing my thing. And I came back here after China a couple years ago. I knew that he had just broken up with his band of 8 years or something, and I thought it was time to attack. And so I said, hey man, like, why don't we jam? And I thought it was just going to be me and him, and he looped this barista that he used to go to Starbucks like 7 days a week, like twice a day. And he would always go to the same Starbucks in Wayland, Massachusetts. And so he knew this barista there. He knew this guy played the guitar, and he went to Berklee College of Music and so on. And he's an audio engineer and blah, blah, blah. So, the three of us went to the Sound Museum or whatever it's called in Brighton. The practice spaces there. And we started jamming, and, it started to coalesce and come together, and a sound formed. But as you said, Stephen Hopkins, aka Little Stevie, he's nasty on the guitar. He's been playing for 20 years. Been playing like the bulk of his life, and he's just we call him Stevie Magic. So
with good reason, man. He really I don't know. For those of you that come on Friday, you'll get a little taste of him. Where he's really at his fullest is he's both lead vocalist and guitarist for Night on the Sun. And there's a lot of power to him.
Yeah, I usually am not a big fan of screaming, but his scream is very unique, and it's melodic in certain ways.
Yeah, no, I definitely I would agree with that. So wow, you just Johnny just knew him from Starbucks, huh? It was like, hey,
yeah,
you really
addict, and he was like, yeah, why don't you come jam? And so Stevie had been traveling too or whatever, and he hadn't been in a band for a couple of years, so just so happened that the timing was right.
Do you ever get the desire that you to play a different instrument? It's kind of a random question, but
that's a good question.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
It's not a random question. I jokingly, half serious, say that in another life I wish I was good at the guitar. Because the guitar gets all the chicks, so just shredding up there. But I don't know if I really want to play the guitar. I wish I was awesome at the drums. I would pick the drums just because using all your four limbs, it's just next level.
I think it's the drummer from the Grateful Dead describes it as being a four-sided schizophrenic. So it's like you're playing four different things, 2 different feet, 2 different hands, and then once you get it right, it's like really like it's like dancing.
Yeah, you have to like levitate over your body.
Yeah, I mean it's a, you know, you think about you getting yourself in rhythm when you're dancing and like making your body and your legs work together. You know, it comes pretty subconsciously for a lot of us. But like drumming, you're literally have to make those different rhythms. You know, they're all in the same rhythm, but doing 4 different things jive together, and then be, you know, not just be 4 separate things, but all be part of the same running machine. So I think drumming's fascinating in that kind of way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got like that guy from what band was that? Rush, Neil Peart. He's got like
It's amazing. Drums. Yeah, he's got a kit that goes all around you. You know, like that. It's enormous. I love Rush. Me and my son Leo were rocking out to Rush earlier.
I wish Neil Peart was more in the limelight, though.
What'd you say, Dave?
Get out of here with that Rush stuff.
Come on, man. You gotta up your tastes.
Hey,
what's up?
You wish that that Neil Peart was more in the limelight?
Ah, I see what you did there. I get what you did. That was like a double or even a triple entendre, really. As I represent JP Lime.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Wow. So you have layers to you, man, that you don't even know about.
Absolutely.
So Dave, how do you guys feel about now that A Night in the Sun, you're not in like your the honeymoon phase of like dating? Do you guys feel like you're still growing and changing? And I feel like you're playing a lot of shows. Do you feel like you're picking up energy at this point?
Yeah, we've entered the show phase. We've practiced. I needed to get up to speed after taking 12 years off. So, it's
retiring
months to like get back in the swing of things, and then now we're in the show phase. So we're definitely growing. We have, I can plug a couple of shows. We just got a couple of shows in Revere at Sammy's Patio on the 22nd of June. We will be headlining. A couple other bands, pretty cool. I know the first band, they're called the Shakes. They're like a bluesy rock, like a bluesy, heavier rock band. They're really cool. The other band's Pillbook. They're the ones who got us the gig because they heard us, but I have never heard them yet. But I'm sure they're good.
And you've been playing a bunch of other places recently. Is there anywhere that sticks out as a cool venue that you've done recently?
We just played at the Raven in Worcester last Saturday. So that's a cool place. Supposedly it's been there for a long time. I've never been there before, but it's like a dingy, aged rock club with a good sound system. So you gotta bring people though. There's not just like people hanging around. It's not like downtown. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a cool stage there. And we played up in Maine. We played up at the University of Maine. We played at TCAN, the Center for the Arts in Natick, as our coming out show last year, about a year ago. Other than that, yeah, I mean we're starting to get more and more shows, but we're still pretty fresh.
So come on here.
You should check out the Blue Rock Gallery. I wish they would love them there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you booked there. We know some peoples.
Yeah. Book us a tour.
I don't know about that. Maybe a tour of the art gallery.
Hey, yeah. Gallery.
We'll put some, like I said, we'll put some links up in our partner link section because it would be a very good idea for you as fans of good music to come out and check out Night on the Sun, also known as ANOTS. Come check them out at their many live shows. It really is worth your time.
Hey, Prof.
Yeah.
I gotta ask. I love asking this. Where does the Night on the Sun? Where's the nickname come from? Where's the band name come from?
Where does the band name come from? A Night on the Sun?
Yeah.
Well, that was another like long search for a band name. So we wanted something. We knew we wanted the theme of explosiveness and something turbulent. But originally we got it down to a night in the sun, like instead of a night in the moonlight or something.
Yep.
An oxymoron, but then like changing that preposition like was everything, because I would have not been satisfied with a night in the sun by now, but I love a night on the sun, like an explosive experience. I'm working on art right now, a painting where there's like an astronaut floating right, like hovering over the surface of the sun. So it's just kind of that idea that we come in lovingly and kick your ass, and then you're better off for it.
Wow, that's well said. I like that. I think it's also, I think that change in preposition is really interesting too, because it does change the meaning very subtly but importantly.
Absolutely. A night on Paris, a night in Paris. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm in love with the name. Like, it sounds so stupid to be in love with your own name, but it's like I couldn't be more satisfied. It's like totally embodies the style of music. Chris, I think you'd agree on that.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think it's a really awesome sounding band name, but I think it makes it like, of course that's your name. That it fits. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what you're hoping for most when you come up with a name, is that, we talked about the many different qualities, and we won't dive into all of them, but like, you got to be able to, it's got to be a quick read. You got to hear it and not have to repeat it several times. And it's got to somehow fit and vibe even more than like, oh, that's really clever.
Yeah,
clever
right.
too, but it's got to fit,
Yeah, the thing that saves it is that all of the words are super simple. So you're never stuttering over what a word is. You can put it together after the fact.
Yep. I was going to ask a question about the artwork on the album. Who did the artwork on the album cover?
I did.
Oh, very nice.
Thanks.
Very nice art.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good segue, because I wanted to ask, Dave is, in addition to being a musician and being a bass player in multiple bands, you also have different artistic outlets that have been, a part of your life for a long time. Where did you, in fact, one of them being writing? We published Essential both on JP Lime and on at Oddball, your short story, which we can dive into in a second. And as Jason just mentioned, the artwork on A Night in the Sun is yours. The artwork that shows up on Tyler Durden's Facebook page right now is Dave's. So, which art medium do you think came to you first, or most naturally?
It's it's hard. Things have gone in phases. I've never really like fired on all cylinders at any given time in my life, but I would say probably writing, like short forms of writing, whether it's poems or short stories.
And when do you feel like you first were like, hey, I really this is fun, I really want to do this?
Probably not till like high school, and then even I was very like finicky artist, like, oh, I'm not inspired enough, I can't write. Like it would be like I'd have to be like struck by lightning, and then I would write something, but it would take a while. I mean, it's hard to say too. I drew, art class in school, but like I never I was okay at some things, but I can't like draw you anything realistic necessarily, but I can make really cool abstract things. So that's not something you like look at your kids like abstract painting and you're like, oh yeah, let's put them through art school.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be a great abstract artist someday. Yeah, I feel you.
Looks like nothing. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean those two kind of very slowly intertwined in the beginning.
I mean, you really do have a really interesting style. It's also the artwork that goes along with Essential. So if you saw Essential on either one of the websites, that tree picture is also Dave's as well. I don't know, it's certainly a really interesting style, and it's definitely, you can pick it out. It's somewhat distinct. Like I have a couple of your pieces here at the house, and then obviously, like I said, I've seen the album covers and whatnot, and there's certainly a consistent style through it. It's kind of hard to put your finger on, I suppose.
So, I mean, the theme of writing and drawing, so I call it word art, which, may sound silly if you think it's like, it's not graffiti, right? It's not graffiti, not because it's where it's painted, but it's graffiti has a certain like edge to it, you know. Whereas mine is more based on I don't know how to make that distinction. I graffiti to me seems more like hip hop, and like sending a message or something. Where what I do is more removed from a context, I guess. And I take words I like and I make the picture out of the words. Sometimes the words are very apparent, and sometimes they're very not. So I guess that theme has continued with this, you know, and it lends itself to album covers, of course, because you got to put the name of the band on there. So, yeah.
I think it's interesting. I haven't really made a connection like between your stuff and graffiti, but there is something similar in that it, like you said, it's word art. It's based on the words, and then like if you were to think about graffiti, not just tagging, but like a huge train car or a very big piece, there's actually something somewhat similar that I'd never really seen or thought about before. But between the way that a piece like that develops and what you do, like it's obviously centered on the word, but then there's a lot of color and a lot of
a lot of color, a lot of swirling,
a lot of patterns,
patterns, and it's like lends itself to more caricature or abstract, I think, graffiti, you know, because you can't, it's hard to make something look, you know, with spray can, it's hard to make something look like a portrait, you know. Some people can do it, but a lot of people, you know, they do more caricatures and like cartoonish because that fits the medium. So yeah, I think there's something to that. But yeah, my stuff is not really graffiti, but it's the same principle, I guess.
Yeah, I never really thought about that, but it definitely has that in common.
Yeah.
Is there a art medium that you have never pursued that you feel like I wish that I could really sculpt? I really wish that I could, you know, I was an architect.
Well, up until about a month and a half ago, I would have said painting, because I've feared painting. Like, I can't control paint very well historically, and so that kind of scares the shit out of me.
So what do you usually use for your stuff?
I usually use, you know, I started with like markers and fine tipped markers, and then I moved to colored pencils and markers. So a lot of fine line stuff, where I could, you know, almost obsessively control what I was doing. Whereas now I've started to screw around with spray paint art, and so that, you know, up until recently I would have said painting. I'm still scared of brushes because I don't know, it's irrational. But I suck at taking photos, which is kind of an interesting thing. I can appreciate good photos, but I just don't have a knack for framing things.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's lots of forms of art. Like, I could never imagine sculpting. Like, that seems way too difficult.
Yeah.
Like making, you know, like a perfect body out of stone. Like, what?
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree. Especially when you move beyond clay and you're starting to talk about chiseling or cutting things away. Like, that's crazy to me.
You can't make any mistakes, or if you do, you have to know how to fix it really well.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one is a totally a crazy one to me. Like,
yeah, it's underappreciated, you know. The sculpting of the world.
It's true. Shout out to the sculptors of the world. All right, we're here for you. We see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially like guys that do chainsaw ice sculpting, underappreciated.
Underappreciated, sure.
Whittler. No one cares about the whittler. No one cares about
or the whittler. The whittler sitting on a porch somewhere. You know, that guy
making a boat.
Underappreciated.
He's not going to be in the Art Hall of Fame. He's just making a boat with wood.
Yeah.
He's doing it for the right reasons, you know.
He's just living life.
Whittling.
Listening to kind of bluegrass.
Life. Whittling.
With the woodland creatures.
So like I said, time does fly when we're having a good time here in the Oddball Hour. We are almost down to the end of the time. I think it would probably be a good idea to give our peoples a little taste of A Night on the Sun, just a wee bit of a taste, and then we'll come right back and maybe do some closing out with I don't know, maybe do a list of 10 and do Jagged Thought if we got one laying around. You guys amenable to all that?
Absolutely. All right, let's go with, what do you want to play? Over the Wreck?
Love that song.
Let's play Over the Wreck. Right, here we go. Over the Wreck by A
Night on the Sun.
On the Sun. Here we go.
Like being animal running through the streets. I don't notice the fall till it's almost done. You tell me I'm young tough. Just city I look only when it's dark. If the light is the pizza, I'll follow the track back where I'm still intact. Come listen to your prayer. It's a lie. You deny what you said. They climb over the rain. But tonight, I promise you head, and I'll make you regret. You.
Yeah, man, I love that song.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
And for those of you, so our musical qualifications here at the Oddball Show are a little bit limited, but when you get that in your face, there's some real force behind that. So so definitely come check out Under the Sun live if you would, please. We're talking tonight with D+, aka Dave Vierling of both Under the Sun and Tyler Durden. It's been a rousing and a fun discussion, you know, as we tend to do with the Oddball Show here. We wander around a little bit, but I think it's about time to get into some winding down stuff.
I think so. Let's put the lights on. Let's put the lullaby music on and take them off to bedtime.
Put him to sleep, bitch. But do check out all of our pertinent links. Please come check out our show Friday in Natick at TCAN, and come check out Under the Sun live at their many upcoming shows. And check out all those pertinent links to support all your local artists and all the different things that we've mentioned tonight in our discussion. Dave, thank you very much. We've had a great time tonight.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Chris, for having me on.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
We are going to do what's called here a list of 10. And even though you don't know what's coming, Dave, are you ready?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Always ready.
This is the list of 10.
The list of 10.
So list of 10 is
Wait, does it always happen in echo like that?
Yep, always. It's the only way it works. It just comes with the list.
All right.
So list of 10 is based on. See, told you. It's based on James Lipton and Inside the Actor Studio, who based it on Bernard Pivot's apostrophes, based it on the Proust questionnaire. So it's kind of a long-standing tradition, and I like to take it and make it my own, our own, the Oddballs' own. So, Dave, it's time for a list of 10.
The list of 10.
All right.
Number 1, D+. What time and place would you like to be if not here and now?
Probably the 60s, because I'm like a hippie at heart, I guess.
Nice.
And I have this romanticized view of sex with no condoms and no consequences.
Free love, baby.
Yeah, free disease, free love. Yeah.
Acid and sex.
I like it.
Who can't get behind that?
Yeah, who can't support sex with anonymous strangers?
Disease free.
Yeah, and disease free.
I would.
That's key. That's key, Chris.
It really is a big part of the negotiation.
Yes.
Wait, so what kind of diseases are on the table here?
There
All
was
right, so number 2.
leprosy.
Number 2. What is the greatest advice you've ever received?
Oh, but well, I don't know. Oh, this is not really advice. It's more like wisdom I've gathered.
Word.
Does that count?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's like the more you learn about anything, the more you realize how little you know.
Nice.
Any more brain?
The wise fool.
Yeah, I mean that's totally like you have to be humble. You got to live humbly because you're just like no one knows enough not to be humble.
Plus, I think there's a flip side to that too. That like the more legitimately, the more you learn, the more you realize, oh, I actually know very little about this, and that's an empowering feeling. I feel like you can feel smaller, but it can also be like, well, there is power in gaining that knowledge, and I was far more ignorant before I learned the little bit that I learned.
Yeah, you're right. Like after you get crushed, like at the car yard into a cube, you're really solid and stronger.
It's a good analogy. This show has been full of good analogies. I want to pat us on the back for that.
Same page.
Number 3, what would your superpower be?
Oh, Chris, this is gonna break your heart because I'm not. So you got to preface this with I'm not like a superhero guy. Like I don't really dig that much. So having said that, it would probably be something lame like all of my body routine things every day, like brushing my teeth or like going to the bathroom or shaving or like laundry, like those would all be like magically done in my life by no one. It's magic. Like I could be like poof, like that stuff's done.
That is a good one. I have never heard that before.
Your superhero would be checking off your chore list without checking.
Yes, absolutely. Thank God. Oh dear God.
All daily routines are done automatically. That is my superpower.
But you wouldn't save people from a burning building. You'd be like, I gotta brush my teeth and wash the dishes. Check. Done.
Oh man, no wonder I'm single.
The orphanage burned to the ground. I washed my dishes.
He's the laziest man on earth.
On the lawn.
Even in his fantasy.
Yeah. Yep.
And sex without a condom. That's my other superpower.
Yeah.
All right. It's real weird.
Number 4. Number 4.
Oh, yeah, number 4? Oh,
no, that was number 3. This is number 4. Number 4, Biggie or Tupac?
Oh, boy.
Biggie.
Biggie.
Mostly because I think I love Tupac's sound, but I think he was reckless.
Biggie, can't you see?
Not that Biggie was like living safely, but I think Tupac was poking the proverbial bear more in life.
I agree. I think he was poking the proverbial bear. Good call.
Yeah.
He's a rebel, man.
I love his music, but
But
yeah.
He was reckless.
Biggie.
Pac, you were reckless, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Number 5, who is your favorite person?
What? My favorite person?
Yep.
There we go. Truth teller.
Like what? I've never heard it phrased that way. I've heard like favorite something, favorite singer, favorite academic.
Nope. The only limitations is it has to be a human being. It can't be an alien.
Favorite person. Can I get an idea? Who's your favorite person?
Well, I'm married, so my favorite person is my wife. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cop out.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. You asked a married man. Also, I have a 5-week-old son, 6-week-old son, so he's also my favorite person.
Oh my God! So what about your family, other people,
family, sir.
No, but I mean, so it could be. It doesn't have to be, family. It could be like Albert Einstein or like,
oh man. So the first person that popped into my head, which is not true, but I like him a lot, is Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. That's a great answer.
He's not my favorite person, but he's like top 100.
He's not my favorite wrestler, though. Not my favorite wrestler.
Barack Obama is not your favorite wrestler.
Skills. I'm not sure.
What'd you say?
I don't know his wrestling skills.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him in action. I've only heard rumors.
Yeah.
You can't trust the scouting report.
No, it's true. Especially not when it comes to WWE, man.
No, they're historically, frail.
Boston Crab.
They fudge those reports.
They're frail. All right, number 5.
Number 6.
Number 6.
What is your quest?
My quest is to give every ounce of creativity that I have, and then give it to the world for good or for bad. And I think more people, to try to encourage other people to do the same.
Nice. Every ounce of your creativity. Number 7, fill in the blank. All you need is blank.
I'm not going to go with the cliche that popped in my head. So all you need is an understanding, which is another cliche, but I was going to say love. But you're not going to get everybody to love each other, so maybe more understanding.
Understanding.
All you need is someone else to make your bed.
All you need is a magic cure.
All you need is a superpower that you don't have to brush your teeth.
Can I tell you how cool my wife is? She just came in and made something called Sour Patch Kids with grapes. I don't know how she did it, but they're like Sour Patch Kids, but they're just grapes.
Dude,
I don't know what she did.
that does sound amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's her superpower.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
No, making candy out of fruit.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like water to wine.
It's pretty great. I mean, I'm eating it right now. I'm really enjoying it.
So D+, number 8.
8.
Rock, paper, or scissors?
That's easy.
Like always? No,
Just, you know,
I'm drawing the line at that question, Chris.
I'm drawing the line. What'd you say?
Different circumstances require different tools.
That's well said.
You had one tool, a rock, paper, or scissors.
Chris, how dare you try to corner me on that?
Trying to pigeonhole me into
How
a rock,
far
paper,
we get to
scissors.
life without rock, paper, scissors?
If you had a gun to my head, I would probably say scissors.
There you go.
Well, if I had a gun to your head, you'd probably want a gun.
Yeah.
Because rock,
Paper, scissors, gun.
and TNT.
You know what that reminds me of is Seinfeld. Give a shout out to Seinfeld.
Wherever he may be.
The show more than the guy, I guess. But anyway, they had a thing on there where Mickey, the little guy, was talking to Kramer, and he was, they were talking about rocks, paper, scissors, and how to win, and they both figured out that nothing beats rock. The conclusion they came to, they were like, hey, what beats rock? Like, nothing beats rock. And then they kept doing rock, bunch of idiots.
Hey, Prof, next time we do the list of 10, it should be rock, paper, scissors, gun.
See, they seem to misunderstand the fundamentals of this game.
Well, they twisted them.
It's like trying to twist the laws of nature.
Yeah.
What kind of twisted people are these? Talking about
Fuck the rules.
people from the 90s.
Yeah.
It's science.
Number 9.
No.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Someone who has 6 weeks vacation a year.
A grown-up.
Awesome.
Yeah, probably gotta go work in France or something.
And number 10.
10.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear St. Peter say when you reach the pearly gates?
Is he just like the gatekeeper dude?
Yes. Yep.
Shows you how much I know about religion.
I want to know who you
I
are.
would like to hear him say that you just made it.
Just in the
like we voted and it was like by a vote.
And it was you with this one other guy, and he did a couple things.
That would maintain my street cred, in heaven.
I like it. Just made it.
Yeah. So watch yourself. Start running the joint.
You're gonna run ahead.
I like that.
Is that too Aaron Hernandez or what?
Oh!
Wow.
Wow. Didn't expect you to go there.
That's dark.
Yeah, you didn't. I seem like a nice guy.
I don't know. You're so
You guys are so quiet. You guys are so fucking quiet. It's hilarious.
Well, this has been the Oddball Show. No, this has been a list of 10.
A list of 10.
With D+. And this has been the Oddball Show. It's been a lot of fun. And Dave, thank you very much for being here, man. We've had a great time.
Thank you guys. Thanks again.
We've come down to the end of our time here, but please, all of our listeners, go and take a look at, or listen rather, to both Tyler Durden and Another Son. Come join us Friday night at TCAN in Natick, which is the Center for Arts in Natick. Tickets are available at the door, but if you hit us up on our various websites or on our social media, we have discounted tickets. So please hit us up and come see us on Friday. It'll be like something you have not seen before, that I can guarantee. And yeah, definitely check out all our pertinent links for all the things that we've talked about in our discussion this evening.
Yeah, stretch your hip flexors.
Bring your hip flexes and bring your rock and roll pants, all right?
Stretch them, Chris.
Stretch them. Oh, yeah, I guess you can't go anywhere without them. They're like inside you. So stretch them.
No, they're not.
Well, Jason, you want to take us out of here with a jagged thought?
I am. Okay, so before the podcast, I wrote a really sad, depressing, stupid JT that I hope Chad doesn't put up, because it was like, I got in a car accident. My life sucks. But you know what? I didn't even write about how I got in a car accident. It was just about how I got into a car accident, or the mood was because I got into a car accident. You know what? I'm over it. I'm over the car accident thing today. So, yeah, I got in a car accident. I told you in the beginning of the show. Anyway, I wrote this poem while you guys were talking about something, and it's called Sight. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Sight. I don't know what jagged thought number this is. It hasn't been published yet, but it's called Sight. Time for my mind to rewind, to take back the sunshine, reinforce my storm, showcase the light in all forms, write random lyrics, release them all on all platforms. Sad for a minute, but the dude abides and man the storm, it never dies. The mind might tighten, but each word I've written is not in vain. Got the microphone mind and that sustained brain, but I maintain and exhibit the stance to get the damn man dancing in the avalanche. Wrote a suicide note, but took it back, ripped it up. Man, the storm sense don't go out like that. So when I get in this funk and I don't dance and I got to get back on the whiplash, dance forward, take the power back. Death will come one day, but not for me. Man, the storm floating out in the sea. Poetry shines like the sun rising with the tide, and man, the storm keeps an even keel. With the thunderstruck, the down, the wounded, the lost, the luckless, young and breathless, who are no longer with us because they didn't pass the litmus test. And that was my jagged thought. It will be published tomorrow on Oddball Magazine. And Dave, we had a lot of fun with you today. Thanks for being on the show. And I know, yeah,
that's a tight poem, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just something quick I wrote. So, guys, if you are guys and ladies and gents, if you're in the Natick area and you want to see Prof rock with D+, go to TCAN, the Center for Arts in Natick. It's Friday. This Friday. What time does the show start, guys?
Doors open at 7.
Yeah.
It starts at 7. And
we'll probably play between 8 and 9.
All right. So, guys, everybody's got to check out this band, Tyler Durden. I kind of know the guy, Prof, who does it, and he's kind of cute. So
he's okay.
He's all right. So, anyway, this has been the Oddball Show. Thanks, Dave, for being on the show again. And, yeah, we'll see you next week. In 2 weeks, we're coming back with Eliza Williamson from National Alliance of Mental Illness. She's the In Our Own Voice person behind In Our Own Voice, which is a great program, which we'll talk about next week at the Oddball Show. So, yeah, we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye. And there we go.
This is the Oddball Show. Collaboration, Creepy Line Productions, and Oddball Magazine.